Hey guys, welcome back to Clashing with Corey. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Today's video is all about queen charges. Base builders have finally caught up with the Siege Machine update, and bases at the competitive level are being built specifically to defend the wall wrecker based attacks. However, this has also left a lot of bases vulnerable to the queen charge based attacks, so they have surged again in popularity. With that, let's get into some queen charge attacks. We're going to start out with King's queen charge hog attack on number 27. So he's going to start it out with a bowler bounce. Just cut that side of that funnel. Definitely don't want to leave free bowler bounces available on the outside of your base. It just makes funneling way too cheap and way too easy for the attacker. So he's coming into some heavy fire here, but gonna get through it just fine. Now he's got his king down on the other side, cutting in the other side of the funnel so that he can wall break in and the queen can go into the base. He's also got a goblin over here on the town hall. Remember, they do extra damage to resource buildings, and the town hall counts as a resource building. So they're a really effective way at chewing through high hit point resource buildings or town halls on the outside. He's got his first wall break in, and he's already contacting the enemy queen. Clan Castle's pulling out now. Goes and pops his queen before the Valks get there, because they would have absolutely wrecked her if they would have gotten there with her health that low. So able to get through the enemy clan castle with just that ability, but then puts down a rage because, well, looks like there's another Valk coming over, plus 2 Expos and a cannon coming up. Definitely needed to get her back to full health. Has another test wall breaker in there to clear out any potential traps, and gets his second layer wall break in there. Now at this point he's going to drop his hogs in because she's still taking some pretty heavy fire, and he's out of ability, and he's already used both his rages. So if you wait too long on the hogs, your queen just dies out, but his queen's going to keep getting some value in there. Now he brings in, look at this, he's using an offset wall wrecker in an angle where it's going to take out some buildings on its own, and it's also going to tank. Look at all these defenses it's tanking right now. And he's got max hogs in it. So aside from just having the max hogs in the CC, you can also find a creative way to use the wrecker on the back end to tank and even destroy some more defenses. Really get some extra value out of it. Maybe not as much value as you get with a kill squad based attack, but if the base is built specifically to defend that kill squad based attacks, a lot of times a queen charge with an offset wall wrecker is a better way to go. So he's got plenty of hogs left. Got all his heals down at this point. He's been putting down cleanup throughout the whole attack. So unfortunately does have to deal with the enemy king on the backside, but they're grouped enough. They're going to take care of him no problem. And the queen's still alive, so she's going to help with that enemy king as well. Now you notice he has a miner in his composition there, and that's to reach any of those buildings on the inside of the base that aren't reachable by the wizards. Those cause time fails all the time, so if you bring a miner to target those defenses inside the walls that the wizards can't reach, really helps to have one of those along with your cleanup. So there's our 3-star from King with queen charge hog attack. Now we're going to go up to Vince's hit on 15. And Vince is going to do what I believe is a queen charge mass loon. I'm not exactly sure what he has inside that blimp, but I believe it's just more loons. So no hounds mean that it's not a Lalo. It's just a queen charge mass loon. The reason he can do that on this base is he plans to get 3 of these air defenses, and more importantly, the enemy queen. You definitely don't want to try and mass loon a base that still has a queen up. It's going to be pretty tough. You can do a Lalo on a base that still has a queen up. Just got to make sure she targets the hounds, and then you end up raging a Skelly spell on her. But he's going to go ahead and get the queen and a few of these air defenses with his entry. Got a baby dragon down to cut one side of the funnel. Got the king on the other side of the funnel. Then the king, aside from just funneling, he can actually tank some other defenses too, which delays your need for a rage on the queen, and can also tank extra defenses so that you can get your wall break in there more effectively as well. He's got his first wall break coming in. Now King decides to hop inside the base. That's always a little worrisome because you don't want him to steal the healers from your queen. But he's going to go ahead and just die this time, so it's alright. Got another test wall breaker coming down. And then some more wall breakers coming down. But that mortar is not being tanked by anything. So, just barely gets that group of wall breakers. He tried to rage him and get that break. But you know what? His queen's going to break through the wall right there anyway. So, he's got to pop his ability because his healers were not quite raged there. So, he drops another one down to catch him. And is able to deal with that enemy CC and the enemy queen just barely. God, look at her health. So that wasn't an easy walk. It didn't go perfectly for him. You know what I mean? And sometimes that stuff happens. Queen charges are definitely a lot more difficult than, you know, your little wall wrecker entries and whatnot. So, but Vince is really freaking good at it. So he manages to compensate for the things that don't go his way and manages to get his objectives taken out anyways. So at this point, he doesn't have too many spells left. He did have to use 3 rages on that walk. I guarantee he didn't want to use 3 rages on that walk, but he knew he needed to get the value that he needed to have any chance of finishing out the rest of this attack. Ended up being a really good call because he's got enough loons to get this base taken care of. And I think he had, I don't know, 4 haste and a heal left for him. So we got the heal down in an area where he had some wizard towers and got the haste down in areas to speed him up. Keep that middle pack going strong through the base. Alright, and this base is wrecked. Just clean up from this point. So we'll ×4 it. That was a queen charge mass loon from Vince. Now we got one more for you. It's going to be Emiliano. So I've finally gotten to the point now where I know these guys' names, even though they're messing around with all these name changes, you know, which is so confusing because as soon as I got into WHF main, the name change thing came about, and everybody, well, I don't know, probably half the guys in WHF are messing around with name changes, just, you know, as a joke, really. So Emiliano's got an account here he named Agent 931, which is pretty comical. Don't worry about why, but yeah, so he's got a queen charge lava loon attack coming in on this base. And it's a pretty interesting attack. You'll notice he doesn't have any wall breakers in the composition. So, he's got some free funneling he can get down over there. If you check the ranges, you're going to see nothing really reaches those unless he had a troll, you know, a Tesla in there. But luckily he doesn't. I'm not sure if it was a fresh hit or not, but he's able to get this whole side over here funneled with just a couple minions and a couple wizards. Now he's got his queen down right here, and he wants her to walk in this way. And so since he hasn't brought wall breakers, he's trying to take advantage of this channel that goes in here and take up all these expos, enemy CC, really carve out a nice chunk of the base without ever having to wall break at all. So he's got his king and a couple more wizards down there to help funnel in. He really doesn't want her to walk around. I think the value he wants is inside here. And he's definitely got to get inside to pull that enemy CC. So he's got to rage down, get through some of those expos, and the enemy CC's coming out. Gets his poison down. Is he going to need to use their ability? No. Doesn't look like there was any Valks in there. Maybe one, if at all. So he didn't have to use her ability until the very end. He finally had to pop it. 2 expos, a cannon, and an enemy CC was just too much, even for 5 raged healers. But that's alright. That's exactly what your queen ability's for on these queen charges. So now he's going to bring in his flight portion. And he's only got... Hold on. When did he take out all those air defenses? He must have hasted in some loons up here as well, and I must have missed it. I apologize for that, but looks like he's only got 1 air defense left at this point. Wow, I wish I would have watched this a little bit closer before I made the video, because I'm a little confused right now, I'll admit it. So he's got his Lalo coming in. You'll notice he got his rage down in an area that had a bunch of defenses, and it also had the enemy queen. So he got his rage down after his loons were all placed, and then he went ahead and dropped his Skelly spell, and those Skellies are just going to wreck that queen. So he had his blimp coming in from the other side with some max loons in it, and going to haste them into that last air defense area. He's got a heal that covers both those wizard towers in the core. Got his last rage coming down. This base is wrecked. Very nice Lalo from Emiliano there. And a creative queen charge too. You know, a lot of guys, if you're not thinking about getting the queen with the queen charge, you won't consider doing it. Not always necessary. As long as you get enough value and you're good at killing the queen with the rage Skelly, You know, it's honestly, it's not necessarily to get the queen at all. It can make it easier if you get the queen, sure, but if you're good at those skelly kills, then it can honestly can be a non-factor, really. Then you look more at pathing through the base. So we'll speed this up. Nice triple queen charge Lalo from Emiliano. Alright guys, that's all I've got lined up for you today. I hope you liked the video. Queen Charge, we're definitely seeing a surge in popularity, like I said earlier, because the base building has changed. And when the base building changes, the attacks have to change. And I'll see you guys in the next video.